The radar shows nothing, but the ship is right there. You can see it with your naked eyes. Do you trust your screen or your eyes? Hello everyone, welcome to Alex's Story Time, and I am Alex. Today I will share the second story from Chen. He is a sailor. Story number 45 was told by him too. In 2013, on Christmas, the ship Chen was on set sail from Naples, Italy. At the beginning of 2014, the ship traveled to the Cape of Good Hope and experienced a very strange event. In the summer of the southern hemisphere, the steering gear and the propeller of the huge ship were frozen, and then the communication system also failed completely, unable to contact any rescue. Later, two old oilers, O and Pen, performed a chicken sacrifice, and then the big wave came, and the ship returned to normal. The whole story sounds incredible. Today's story was shared by Chen too, and now I'm telling it to everyone. Today's story is about a ghost ship. Over the years, Chen has experienced two ghost ships. In the previous story, we mentioned that Chen graduated from Dalian Maritime University in 2009 and officially went on board in 2010. When he boarded, the two oilers, O and Pen, were already working on a ship. At the end of 2010, the ship Chen worked on set sail from Shanghai, with the destination being Miami Port in Florida, USA. When the ship reached the area north of the Lesser Antilles in the southern Caribbean, it happened to be Chen's ship. The sea was calm, the visibility was very good, and the ship was sailing very smoothly. At around 5 p.m., it was almost time to change shift, and the colleagues of the next shift had already arrived in a cockpit, waiting for the handover to be completed, and Chen could go back to the cabin to rest. At this time, Chen was still standing next to the radar. The radar showed that there were no ships or floating objects around, and everything seemed normal. Chen and the next shift colleagues were handing over meteorological and navigation logs when they suddenly heard other colleagues shouting, "Attention! There's a ship coming straight ahead!" What? How could this be? Chen returned to radar immediately to check the screen. The radar screen showed the same data and information as before, with no ships or floating objects around. Chen looked up through the cockpit window and saw that there really was a ship coming. It was visible to the naked eyes. Moreover, the ship coming from the opposite direction was heading straight towards Chen's ship, neither slowing down nor turning. The captain directed an immediate turn to avoid a collision urgently. The other ship did not dodge. "We must get out of the way." Then the captain ordered the communicator to contact the other ship immediately, asking for its identity and ship name. The communicator called multiple times, but the other ship did not respond. Then the two ships passed each other, only a few hundred meters apart. Neither group of crew members left the cockpit. Everyone could see that the other ship was a cargo ship with a displacement of about 3,000 tons. The ship's body was very rusty, and the ship was leaning to the right. Most of the ship's starboard side was already submerged in seawater. The port side, the other side of the ship, was largely exposed above the water. One can imagine that such a ship was about to capsize. Yet, it was still charging across the sea. The captain ordered the communicator to call the other ship again, asking if they needed rescue and informing them that their ship was about to capsize. Then the captain ordered the communicator to send a distress signal to the rescue agencies at various ports nearby, stating that there was such a ship in this area that it was about to capsize and it needed help. Soon, the nearest rescue agency contacted Chen's ship and asked for specific information about the ship in need of assistance. However, this ship has not responded at all so far. The captain sent a small boat with the first mate and some crew members to confirm the situation. The first mate received the order, took 6 crew members, and set off in a small boat. Everyone in the cockpit was closely watching their boat. At this time, Owen Pen came to the cockpit. Pen said, "Captain, don't let them board the ship. It's a ghost ship." This sentence made everyone panicked. Chen did not understand the situation of Owen and Pen at the time. It was very strange. An oiler, the lowest ranking crew member on a ship. What qualifications did they have to decide the captain's orders? However, the captain did not object but immediately followed the oiler's request, picked up the walkie-talkie and ordered the first mate and crew. "First mate, you can only approach and observe. Report the ship's condition. Do not board the ship. Do not board the ship, and then return immediately." The first mate replied, "Copy that. Do not board. Observe only, and then return." In a short while, the first mate reported via walkie-talkie, "Report to the captain. The name of this ship is Sunny Lindy." The captain replied, "Copy that. Come back immediately." The first mate replied, "Roger that." Then they came back to their own ship. At the same time, the captain contacted the rescue agency and reported the ship's name. However, the rescue agency told the captain, "Please leave this area immediately and do not approach that ship." At this time, the first mate also returned and came to the cockpit. He asked, "What's wrong? What happened?" The captain did not answer and ordered, "Full speed ahead. Leave this area ASAP." Then the captain answered the first mate's question. According to the rescue agency's reply, it seems that this ship is a ghost ship. What Pen said was right. Later, Chen's ship did not encounter any more strange things and smoothly arrived at Miami port. The crew asked the port staff about the ship. "Have you heard of the ship Sunny Lindy?" The other side indeed knew some information and said, "Yes, in the 1970s there was an accident in the Caribbean Sea and it collided with another ship. It is said to be related to Suez, but the specific details are not recorded. At that time, most of the crews were rescued, but some crew members working on deck fell into the sea and disappeared. Then the ship capsized and floated upside down on the sea. In the following 30 years, many ships have seen it. Later, there were even rumors that the ship did not sink and was used by a major Latin American drug dealers to transport drugs. But of course, this cannot be verified and is probably a rumor. The whole event was actually not dangerous to Chen and the ship he was on. But Chen does not understand why the ship was so close. How could the reader have no reaction at all? This was Chen's first time seeing a ghost ship with his own eyes. The second time was a few years after that unforgettable experience at the Cape of Good Hope. The second time Chen saw a ghost ship was at the beginning of 2015. They received a task to set sail from Kowloon Port in Hong Kong to Sydney Port in Australia. There was also another medium-sized cargo ship from the same company that set sail with Chen's ship. The two ships were 1.5 nautical miles apart. One day, when the two ships sailed to the Coral Sea in the southwest Pacific, the weather was not good that day and the visibility was not high. The ship used the radar to scan a large area to determine the situation around the navigation route. At about 12 p.m., the radar showed that there were two ships in the surrounding sea area. One was the medium-sized cargo ship from the same shipping company, and the other was a ship from Australia. The sea breeze was not strong, and the waves were not high. Chen was in a cockpit at the time and noticed that there were wave surges like a ship wicks in the sea ahead of their ship, but there was no ship ahead. Checking the radar again, there were no other ships. Although Chen found it strange, the weak waves did not affect the safety of his ship. However, 15 minutes later, Chen found a huge object appearing in the left front of their ship, traveling in the same direction. It was visible to naked eyes, but the radar still showed nothing. The captain also came to the cockpit and ordered everyone to closely observe the situation of the other ship. This was obviously not a normal phenomenon. A few minutes later, Chen's ship slowly approached, and at a distance of 300 meters, everyone could see that this huge object was actually a warship with a displacement of about 4,000 tons. The ship's guns and various hatches were visible, and the ship's body was severely rusted. The captain ordered his ship to turn right immediately and then notified the warship ahead to turn left to create a safe distance. Ships, especially large ships, must not travel side by side at close range at sea. There is a scientific explanation, the Bernoulli equation. Simply put, in a fluid or airflow, the slower the speed, the greater the pressure, and the faster the speed, the lower the pressure. When the two ships travel side by side at close range, both ships push the water under them, so the water flow speed between the two ships will be faster than the flow speed on the outside. The faster the flow speed, the lower the pressure. The pressure on the outside of the two ships is high, and the pressure on the inside is low. The two ships will gradually get closer and closer under this pressure and then collide. If two ships are too close, they must create a safe distance. Therefore, Chen's ship turned hard to the right immediately, but the warship had no response, and it was clear that the warship was slowly approaching Chen's ship. The captain ordered the communicator to continue contacting the warship, while contacting the ship from the same shipping company behind to prepare for rescue, saying that our ship may collide with the warship ahead. Then Chen's ship also sounded the emergency alarm. The situation was quite critical. The turning of a waterborne ship is not as simple as the turning of a car on land. The turning of a ship is slow. The captain ordered full rudder and full speed ahead. After 10 minutes of effort, Chen's ship finally escaped the flow of the warship and gradually increased the distance from it. The crew saw the appearance of the warship at this time. It was a warship from World War II, with guns at the bow and stern. The captain asked the navigator, "What the hell are you doing? How can you not see such a big ship?" The navigator did not reply, just inviting the captain to come over to look at the radar screen. The screen only showed two ships, and the warship was not visible at all. Such a big ship almost collided with it, but the radar showed nothing at all. This was undoubtedly another ghost ship. Everyone was still very nervous. This was more terrifying than seeing a ghost ship last time. This time it was almost a collision. Chen said, "Such things at sea are actually experienced by many sailors, and everyone knows their existence. But everyone tacitly does not talk about these things. This is also one of the taboos of the sailor profession. It seems that there are still many things in this world that we do not understand and do not know." Okay, everybody, this is the end of the story. Please share what you think of the story and your stories. If you enjoy my work and would like to help me continue to bring this story to you, please subscribe to my channel or like my page. Give a thumbs up to the stories you appreciate and share your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I'd love to read them. Share the stories with anyone who might find them enjoyable. And everyone, I need a co-editor, a native English speaker to make these stories better. Thank you, everybody. This is Alex's Story Time, and I am Alex. I got a lot of good stories to share with you. So, see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.